Hey there, this is Susan Bach welcoming you to another edition of Fabulous Feature Friday. This is our weekly event when I have the pleasure of interviewing one of the members of our group. And today our featured guest is Susan Cohen. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you so much, Susan. And yes, I love your name.
At least we know how to spell it, right? So I love the introduction that you provided, Susan, so I'm just going to read it verbatim.
Okay.
Susan Cohen is a New York-based marketing communications professional. She started her career as a journalist, but her longtime specialty is digital content strategy. She has delivered content strategy solutions to many global brands with household names such as Colgate, Visa, Michelin, and many more. Today, Susan wants to share with us a little insight about the vagaries of career morphing based on her own experience, including her next yet-to-be-written chapter of helping women entrepreneurs gain the benefits of the same content strategy techniques she uses with her biggest clients. I'm really looking forward to this one, Susan. Also, she's going to share a few quick tips about how content strategy can help your business get much greater results to drive your prospects and current clients deeper into your world and sales funnel. And then she has a free surprise bonus for all of our group members. So how fun is this, Susan? Welcome.
Yay, thank you so much.
So I have to start with this first question. What exactly is your business, Susan Cohen Communications, all about?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking. Well, no secret hidden in the name. It is all about communications. And currently, and for the last many years, I have been specializing in digital communications, particularly. Originally, of course, before digital, I did other things. So we're not digital, basically print and other media forms. But I got really hooked on digital very early. I'm sort of a Web 1.0 dinosaur. And I just got really hooked on the dimensionality and the potential of thinking about and executing communication in a whole new radical way, which to me was really exciting. Just not to be nerdy, but the concept of the hyperlink alone, obviously if you remember the old days and the initiation of the internet.
I do remember those old days.
I'm going to presume, but the hyperlink alone, if you think about that as a communications breakthrough, is amazing because it's more like the mind works and more like conversations work between people, and that it's very intuitive, and you just start talking about things and you connect that thought to another thought and you go into that space conceptually. So that's why I love digital, basically, is the sort of enormity of the capacity it has to expand communications as we know it, and obviously that translates into personal as well as business. So that's kind of what I'm doing today. That wasn't a very specific answer, but what I have been doing is, as per your introduction, is really working with a lot of big brands and big organizations. And of course, for them, communications is extremely complex. But I also work with smaller businesses. And as you sort of hinted at, I am really investing mentally and, all to follow in terms of action for 2019 into helping translate these benefits of content strategies so I can help smaller business owners, especially women, of course, because I'm really into empowering women business owners.
Well, I do want to ask about your background, but before we do that, can I ask you to please explain what content strategy is and how does it help businesses with their marketing communications?
Yep, absolutely. So it's a great question because I actually see the term content strategy thrown around a lot these days, and it kind of means different things to different people, I've noticed. So what it really is basically just a practice that now belongs in the user experience realm. If you've heard of UX, it's user experience. And it is all about planning, creating, and delivering content. to your target audience that will help drive success for your business and achieve your business goals. So obviously that means really different things to every business. And basically that's the simplest way of explaining what is content strategy. So what I love about it is that it is both strategic, obviously as a strategy in the name, there's a lot of conceptualization, but it's also extremely tactical. You end up really at the point of delivering content, and after that, sustaining and getting into a beautiful feedback loop with your audience, your clientele, your prospects, whoever it may be, who you care about for your business. So that's what content strategy is at a high level, and why I love it, and why I hope that I can inspire a couple of people today maybe to also think about thinking about content strategy and using it to help their business marketing.
What I love about your message, Susan, is one of the components in my Uniquely You business success formula is becoming an expert on your ideal client and knowing their language and speaking their language so that they hear your message and it doesn't get lost in jargon or in the clutter or the plethora of messages that are coming forth. It's really fine-tuning the message so that ideal client hears what you're saying. And so I appreciate it. It sounds like that's very much what the work is that you're doing.
That's exactly the starting point, Susan. It's thinking about like who is this for? Who am I really talking to? Because at the end of the day, obviously any communications, whatever channel, you know, if it's digital or print or live event, whatever, it's just about a conversation,
right,
between people. And so, yes, a lot of techniques and tools and things that we do in content strategy revolve in the very beginning about just defining who is that. And that gets into personas development, you know, creating basically avatars for who you're reaching. And it could be multiple people, like variations,
right,
you know, depending on what kind of business you have and so on. So that's really fun and completely aligned with
well, I am so intrigued with this. Please share with us the journey that you've taken in your career and your background to get where you are today. I find this fascinating.
Oh, thank you so much. Just very eclectic. Didn't plan any of this at all. Basically, I studied anthropology, so kind of impractical, to be honest. And I moved to New York. I'm from Minneapolis originally, and I moved to New York thinking I was going to pursue anthropology and get a PhD and kind of pull Margaret Mead and go camp out in Africa and stuff. Well, I did go to Africa one summer, but I pivoted once I got to New York. It was just too fun to go to school. So I started working. And my first job was actually at the Museum for African Arts here in New York. And I was just a miscellaneous young person. And I wrote wall text. So I became the writer of wall text at the museum. And then one day they got a big brown box with a computer in it, a really, you know, giant old, I think it was a Mac actually.
Yes. And it was a big box.
It was a giant box, you know. It was for big enough. No one wanted to open the box. So I opened the box, and that's how I got into computer career trajectory. Literally opened the box. So ladies, just open the box. You never know. Could be something fabulous in it. So anyway, so I did continue more as a writer for many years, and then for different media, as I said, and then got into digital and became editorial director of Prodigy, which was one of the first 3 online services, AOL, CompuServe, and Prodigy.
Right.
Yeah, and then did, there was no such thing as content strategy as the discipline at that point. So I was still like an editorial director and a writer, and did start thinking, because we were working in digital media, thought about what we called information design. And that's, you know, like information in 3 dimensions. And that kind of segued then when content strategy became an actual quote unquote discipline with user experience design as a practice throughout the industry. Then I technically became a content strategist. So I kind of became the thing I am now before it existed.
I love that. And it sounds like you're still using all of your natural skills and talents and abilities in this market that you've defined.
Yes. Yes, and always growing, which I love because I'm not naturally like a techie person, but I have to deal with technology a lot, obviously,
Yes.
with a lot of reticence, to be honest. But it's, it's always exciting to keep pushing ourselves to grow and evolve. And I thrive on that, obviously, my personality. And it's just fun. I just love what I do, and it's always changing and evolving. So I love it.
And it shows, my dear. You just have this glow about you that says to me that you are very invigorated.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So the next question you just alluded to is, in addition to the big clients you mentioned for 2019, you have this vision you're holding of working with small business owners and entrepreneurs to assist in their marketing and communication strategies. Can you tell us more about that, please?
Absolutely. So I think because I met you a couple years ago when this little seed was already in my little head. It's been something, one of those things where your spirit is way ahead of the actuality of manifestation. That's okay, life. But it's been in my heart and my intention for some time to, bring these practices and techniques, which really, from what I see and now in my interactions in the world with people, is not really translating from the big businesses to smaller business owners, which I think is a big gap and a big opportunity for small business owners and entrepreneurs to really leverage these techniques and this mindset, this framework of not only strategically thinking about things and ideating, but also really executing so that, you're not frustrated, you're not throwing darts at the wall or paint or spaghetti at the wall, whatever, metaphor, so that you're not wasting money on hiring people. It's very common for smaller business owners to just hire web designers or whoever and kind of farm out a lot of the thinking around branding and marketing communications. And, we can't all do everything. I'm a terrible visual designer. I mean, that's as good as you're going to get. It's my whiteboard. So please don't hire me. But, at least I'm conveying information and someone else can make it beautiful. But that's just not my piece. But so what I am trying to do for 2019 and we'll be doing early in the year is just starting with a small pilot program. I'm thinking just 10 or 12 people, an intimate group of women, business owners specifically, and entrepreneurs. And to just go through an 8-week virtual course where we can spend some time together, in this kind of environment with Zoom once a week, and where I'll be sharing basically techniques and walking through sort of the logic and a lot of the tools and techniques to start including content strategy practice as part of the way you approach all of your marketing communications. It's sort of like exercise. It's a lifestyle thing. So in terms of your business, it's just something you need to kind of start getting into. It's not academic, although there's a little bit of, conceptual learning up front, but it's really, really practical. And that's what I really want to get to help people, for whatever they're doing, if they have multiple social channels or they're not sure, should I do Instagram or not? Or, maybe you're trying to do a website redesign, or you have a special event coming, like a book launch or whatever it may be. You have a store, brick and mortar or virtual. Any kind of business, basically, this is really helpful for whatever sort of ventures people are in. It's industry agnostic, I guess, is the best way to say it. So, yeah, that's what I just want to do is start sharing this with, businesses who I care about and people I want to support. Because, to be perfectly honest, I'm so grateful for all the global brands that I've helped. And they're all doing fine. And they'll be okay if I don't keep helping. So I'm trying to sort of transition my business over the next few years. Not to give up the other stuff, but to just incorporate this more and to just reach out and try to share this learning and knowledge and help, like I said, businesses who I want to help, who I feel are doing good things in the world, and just empowering women business owners in particular, which I think the world really needs our leadership in every way right now.
You certainly touched my heart with that message, Susan. As an entrepreneur, and I can say on behalf of my experience as well as most of the clients that I'm working with, is the conclusion I've reached is that the product or service that you create, that you're going to offer, really is secondary to the marketing. That marketing message, getting in front of your prospective clients, is really what makes or breaks the success of a company. So as our technology has improved and provided us with tremendous opportunities, it has also, I'll say, required us to become much more strategic about how we spend our marketing dollars and how we create the marketing that's going to attract our clients. So to that point, I'm totally on page with you, and I would love to have you share with the viewers now, for this pilot group, if someone's interested in it, what are the requirements to join? What's the process? Just talk us through that, if you would, please.
Sure. It's not totally out yet because I haven't put it out in the world. It's more in my head and in my laptop computer. So the best way for people who may be interested is to just email me, which is Susan at SusanCo, SusanCo.com. And if you could just let me know in the subject line that you heard about me from Susan Fox's fabulous Facebook group, that would be great. And we'll just connect, and I will keep you posted on the progress of the launch date and more details about what the actual contents of the course will be, and so forth.
Great, and we'll definitely include the link with the post, Susan, so that people can just do a cut and paste and make it much easier for them in case they didn't capture it as you were talking about it. I'm curious from the perspective of you shifting from large corporate international brands to that of the more independent entrepreneur. What do you see as similar between the challenges of the two levels of business, and what do you see as vastly different?
That's a fabulous question. Similarity is that on whatever level you're operating, to your point, Susan, that you just made, the key differentiator is really the impact you're making from your marketing, because you can have a better business than the person next door or wherever, but if nobody knows, it's kind of basic marketing. If nobody knows how great you are, or that you're there to serve their interests, needs, wants, desires, you're not going to make a sale. You're not going to have a new customer, nor will you be able to cultivate them and keep them as a customer over time. So I think that really is the core.
Good. Now, would you like to share a bit about the free gift you have for our viewers and this beautiful artwork you have created for us?
Very kind to call it artwork. Yes, what I want to share is get this off my whiteboard and send it to whoever may be interested. Let me just walk through really quickly what it is. It's kind of a primer about content strategy, just a very simple 101 to introduce some of the pretty basic thinking about what is content and what is content strategy. So the big thing is, what is content? Content is everything, right? It's not just copy. It's not just pictures. It's everything between you and your customer. So it can be any kind of information in any format that's visual, video, audio, AR, VR, chatbots, whatever. Print is still good. Let's not forget about print. For certain purposes. And so that is basically content. Content is everything. And it can also be more interactional. If you're more in an e-commerce kind of business, then it would be more interactional and functional. And the next thing I wanted to just review is this circle, which is basically based on a woman named Christina Halverson, was sort of the mother of content strategy, I guess we would say. I don't know if she'd appreciate the nomenclature, but she devised this circle as a very simple way to convey the sort of two sides of content strategy. One is content and the other is people. So when we think about content, we tend to just think about the stuff, the pictures, the things you're writing or whatever. And those things are actually divided into two parts that are, one is structure. So that's like the form of something. That could be, website architecture on a high level, how you name your navigation for your website, things like that. The structure of a page, the structure of an element, a component of the page, and so on. And then there's the content substance. I'm sorry, I'm cheating. I'm turning around to look at my circle. So substance is obviously the stuff itself, the content itself. The other side of the circle is people. And so for a complex organization, to your question about, the differences and similarities of big and small businesses, there's more complexity in the people side, the workflow, how does content get published, who can edit, who's the author, who can approve, and so on and so forth, who's ideating, who's conceptualizing, who's creating the editorial calendar and deciding the themes and so forth. So that's more complex. Obviously, when you have a big business and a bunch of stakeholders, if you're a solopreneur, you get to be the decider, but nonetheless, like I alluded to earlier, you may hire a web designer who has all kinds of crazy, fancy, new, possibly fabulous ideas. But if you don't have a content strategy, again, you're just sort of throwing it at the wall or trusting somebody else's opinion about what you should do for your business marketing when they don't really know your client as well as you do, your ideal customer. So that's why it's important for the business owner to really own the content strategy and then, get help with things that we can't do, like for me, obviously, artwork and design. That's a big difference. And the similarities are that, we all want to have successful businesses. We all want to have great engagement with our prospects and customers. We all want to make the sales and, bring them more into our content ecosystem. And that's one of the other bonuses I'll be setting whoever's interested, is just a high level primer about what is a content ecosystem and how can you think about, even as a small business, how can you think about your content ecosystem and make it better? So again, an ecosystem could include your website, a blog, maybe you have a podcast, maybe you do send out some print materials or an e-newsletter periodically, perhaps you have live events or whatever. So, it's just really helpful to align all of those communications going on and all of those different communication channels that you're juggling. And most business owners are probably doing a lot more than they think they're doing because they're doing everything.
Yes.
So I think that, from your corporate experience too, Susan, you probably have an appreciation of that, you don't have a team for everything. You just have yourself. And if you're lucky and you can hire some help for certain things.
Yes, if we're lucky. That's right. That was one of the biggest adjustments that I had to make when I left corporate and I started my own business. Was in corporate, I had a team of 14 people. I came here in my office now, and there was no one. It's like, well, where's my IT person and where's my, it was such a big adjustment, such a mind shift that I had to go through. And then to your point of finding reliable, effective people that we could delegate to, that were trustworthy, and so on and so forth. So that's one of the big components, I think, of becoming an entrepreneur is acknowledging that you cannot do everything yourself and that you will need help.
Yes, absolutely. And figuring out the right help, because again, that's where I feel that this content strategy practice is very helpful for discerning better what help you really need.
So if people would like to have a copy of your whiteboard,
I'm not going to send you a picture, don't worry. I'll make it pretty in a real document. And again, please just email me, susan@susanco.com, and just let me know that you came from this wonderful group and that you would like the bonus materials that I presented today.
Awesome. Susan, I can't believe our time's already up. This has just been so invigorating for me and inspiring and informative, all three.
Such a compliment. Thank you so much. It's been my absolute pleasure. I'm just so delighted and really looking forward to getting to know more people in the group, as well as just wonderful to reconnect with you again, Susan.
And I know that the people are interested in your message, so I'm looking forward to a lot of interaction between you and the other group members. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing the incredible, unique gifts that you have and for being who you are.
Oh, thank you. Same to you. Thank you.
And this is Susan Bach saying thank you for joining this edition of Fabulous Feature Friday. We're here every Friday at 12 noon. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now. And we're